Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I'm so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business and your social media marketing and help you stay social. Because after all, don't you want to be the business everyone's talking about? I know I do. And I'm so stoked to have Scott Aaron with me. Welcome, Scott.
Well, I'm grateful and honored to be here, Lorraine, and looking forward to diving into all that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, and I think I'm really excited about today, mostly because of your expertise, and I really feel that you're going to bring a lot to the call and a lot of knowledge. So I just really quickly tell everybody out there who you are and what your business is all about.
Yeah, my name is Scott Aaron, originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but now in Marlton, New Jersey, just across the bridge. And I'm a LinkedIn lead generation, marketing, and branding specialist. I've been teaching business owners, entrepreneurs, online coaches, and consultants how to leverage LinkedIn with my patented 20-minute-a-day methodology and system for almost 9 years now. That has led to multiple best-selling books and programs and a group mastermind program and speaking and everything else that you can imagine. And it all started with me going through the process myself of leveraging LinkedIn and getting results and people asking, can you show me how? I saw that there was a place in the market space for people wanting to learn this. And obviously there was a desire to start leveraging their business better, leveraging LinkedIn. And I happened to just figure out a way to use it, and now have taught thousands of people over the last number of years how to do the same thing that I did.
And how in the world did you get into this space? I mean, did it just happen by osmosis, or, were you in the marketing space to begin with?
Well, my traditional background, I've always been a business owner. So I jokingly tell people that I've been psychologically unemployable since day one. So I've never worked for anyone. I've only worked for myself. I started working with our family business back in 1998 when I was 19 years old in the health and wellness industry. My family had a string of health clubs. So that's when I actually started coaching people. I became a certified personal trainer in 1999, a certified sports nutritionist in 2000, and spent the better part of 16 years working with people one-on-one in that space. And I became a problem solver. So when you're in the health and wellness industry, when someone is joining a gym, they're joining it for a number of reasons, but it's typically the same reasons. They want to get healthy. They want to put on muscle. They want to lose weight. They want to feel better. So when people would want to work with me and train with me, they were coming with a problem, and I was providing a solution to get them to where they wanted to be. So I was a very successful personal trainer, logged nearly close to 65,000 hours of one-on-one time in my career. And in 2013, when I was about 15 years in, I was looking to start to diversify my business. And it spurred from a conversation that I was having with a client and friend. And he asked me, he said, if you got sick or injured where you physically could not train people, or you couldn't get to the gym, or the gym goes under, something like that happens, what would you do for income? And it was an interesting question to be asked because I had never thought about it before. But now that I turned the mirror around and realized that I put all my eggs in one basket, I said, well, I have to focus on a plan B, C, D, and E. And that was when I started looking at leveraging social media and the online space to expand my book of business. And I originally started with Facebook and Instagram, which a lot of people ended up doing. So you get a lot of warm market, people that you grew up with, people that you went to high school and college with. But I was looking to go to a higher caliber clientele because I wanted to charge more and work less. because at the time when I was, in-person personal training, I was driving from studio to studio, gym to gym, house to house. And yeah, I was charging $75, $80 an hour, but it was still trading time for dollars. I was looking to 3, 4, 5x that and work with people online where I didn't have to be, stuck surrounded by the four walls of which I worked. And, owning the gym was a whole other story in itself. But long story short, I was thinking to myself, where could I go where I could leverage a social media platform that's more focused on A, networking, B, connecting, and C, higher caliber clientele. And that's when I remembered LinkedIn. I had started an account back in 2009, and it basically was just collecting dust for about 4 years. I went on there and I started playing around with it. I started connecting with people in my local area that were business professionals that I knew were at a different place financially than a lot of the people that I was currently working with one-on-one, because I was reading a bunch of statistics that the average age and income was 25 to 55 years old with a median income of $100,000 a year or more. So I knew I was playing within a field that was going to be more acclimated and accommodating to what I was looking to achieve. And I quickly gained traction. I quickly grew an online wellness practice that way, charging a great deal more than what I was charging before. And I started to have other people in the health and wellness industry that I knew, they caught wind of what I was doing. And they started reaching out and asking me, how are you picking up clients? How are you growing your business on LinkedIn? And so I initially was just helping a couple of friends. I was just, telling them and teaching them what I was doing at the time. And one friend in particular texted me a couple of weeks after I showed him what I was doing. And he said, call me. So I called him and I said, what's going on? He goes, listen, whatever you're doing, I think you figured something out, because I have 14 appointments booked this week. He said, you need to be teaching this. Like, you created a system. Like, this is gold. And that's when kind of like the light bulb went off, and I'm like, well, that makes sense. Up until this point, I'd been writing up workout plans and diet plans to get people a desired result. They would tell me what their end goal was in mind, and I would carve out a path for them to walk down in order to get there. And all I did was translate that from in-person, more wellness type consulting and coaching to online, which initially started as wellness consulting, but then turned into business consulting, teaching those same business owners exactly what I was doing. And I was able to patent my program, and I created a systematic flow. And that's basically how I got into what I was doing. And it's basically gone in this direction where I now train and consult with some of the top financial firms in the world, small, medium, and large scale companies, individuals, groups. And it's been extremely rewarding, because at the end of the day, the reason why I started leveraging LinkedIn was to build more connection, rapport, and trust with people on there. But it's turned into a passion of mine to teach other business owners how they could achieve the same thing, where they double down on building true, genuine, and meaningful connections, can relate to increased revenue into their business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a couple things just caught my attention during this, is this whole relationship thing. And I realized, I always tell, like when I do a speaking engagement or something, I always say, hey, I spend a lot of time on Facebook and Instagram, but I get most of my clients through LinkedIn. And I have to say my most meaningful clients through LinkedIn. And then I'll bring it even deeper. Some of my best colleague friends I've met on LinkedIn, and we've done, collaborations together and just have had a lot of fun. And I always tell people, this is like, it's a network. It's a networking platform on steroids. A lot of people just don't understand it. And they think, I had somebody once say to me, hey, I'm on LinkedIn and I haven't gotten one client yet. And I'm like, well, when was the last time you were on LinkedIn? And they go, 3 months ago. And I'm like, well, exactly. You're not going to get a client. So yeah, I love that whole your whole, how you started from not even being in the place of social media to getting there. And I guess I would assume now that you're not doing personal training at all anymore. Or do you still do that?
Oh, no, that 7 years ago, I stopped that. I mean, that was, yeah, I mean, I closed the gym, and I was already by 2015, 2 years into the online space. I was already scaling back tremendously. I saw the writing on the wall. I was doing more, my LinkedIn consulting practice quickly became a six-figure business within about 9 months. So the writing was on the wall, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to start really digging into this. So I started scaling back. And then in the beginning of 2016, laid everything to rest and have been doing this ever since.
Wow. And, luckily I just talked to a gym owner, maybe probably about a month ago, and they took a huge loss during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, it's so funny that, well, it's not funny, but literally you were right before the pandemic. You made the shift already, and it was very, very lucrative for everybody who was in the digital marketing space, the pandemic. So for most people.
Well, the fact of the matter is, the industry had been changing way before the pandemic. So when my family got involved in the health and wellness industry, this was pre-internet. There was internet capabilities. This was 1998. So there was no social media. There were no big box gyms. There was no LA Fitness. There was no Snap Fitness. There was no Anytime Fitness. There was no 24-hour fitness. There was no LA Fitness. It was just family-owned mom and pop shops, that had been there for years. And, we did very well in the beginning of our journey. But when we sold two of our gyms for $1 million in 2003, opened up a third location in 2004, and that's the one that I closed in 2016. I was $1.5 million in liability debt about 4 years in, because the industry had changed. No one, if somebody was going to join a gym and they had the option to pay $9.99 a month for the same equipment at a family-owned gym that was charging $45 a month, because obviously they had to charge more because their overhead was much different than a large corporate conglomerate, it really put the family-owned gyms out of business. And there's not many left today because of that. And you saw a lot of people then saying, okay, instead of me owning a large box gym, I'm just going to open up a personal training studio and hold classes. But then it's just not a scalable business. It's not scalable. It's still going to require you to spend a great deal of time there. It's a constant churn of clients in and clients out. And, my wife and I have been on this mission for the last 4.5 years, almost 5 years now, of creating as much residual passive income as possible with the services, courses, and memberships that we have to offer, because that's where real freedom is. We only work 3 days a week now, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We're off Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every single week. We have 5 vacations planned this summer. And that's because we've been able to leverage our efforts and our income in order to do that. We want to spend more time living than we want to spend working. And that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've ever read, I think it's Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week.
Yep.
That's like my goal.
Yeah. It's possible. You just have to build it.
Well, I heard that and I've read the book. I read it a long time ago when it first came out, but I heard I had one friend of mine that said that, and they have they almost have a 3-hour work week. They just pretty much followed everything he did in the book, and it was successful. So a lot of times people skip steps or think that it's going to happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And that, I mean, to build your business, yes, you got a couple big clients, but you had, you couldn't just rest in those couple clients. You had to build more. You had to think about what was going to be scalable. You had to think about, could I have a membership program? Because membership programs, a lot of people do not have success with membership programs. So
it's tough. It's a challenge to grow, whether it's a virtual course, a group program, a membership. But again, you got to fill the needs of the marketplace.
Yeah, and I mean, I just read. Speaking of courses, I took this course on how to do a great course that people would just love it and whatever. And the statistics were that, and I know this for a fact because I had launched probably about 4 years ago. It was just right. It was probably 2017. I launched an Instagram course, and it wasn't a long course. It was just basically a kickstart. It was almost a challenge. And I just said, put a little skin in the game. I was going to offer it for free. And I said, put a little skin in the game, $7 for 7 days to get yourself more consistent on Instagram and do all these things. Well, I had like 47 people that, bought the program. And they say statistically 85% do not finish the course. Well, when I looked through, because I hosted this in Kajabi at the time, I looked through it and I'm like saying only one person finished the course. And so it just disturbed me because I was saying either like people just do not finish courses. And I know I've signed up for some courses and not finished them for whatever reason, mostly because they weren't really that good and I didn't learn anything new. But nobody finished this course. And so I wanted to create a course that people were going to finish. So I launched another course that I have, and I did a beta of it, and I had like 25. This was like my warm market though I reached out to. So I reached out to all my warm market. I got 25 signups for it. Every single person, I used a different platform. Every single person finished the course. So all that to say is that people do finish courses if what you say, the content is relevant, they're learning, and you're keeping them engaged enough. And it's almost the same as social media. I mean, everybody says, well, social media is dead, blah, blah, blah. But are you engaging? I mean, I talk to somebody every day on LinkedIn. I have a good friend now in Japan that I talk to once a week. Amazing person.
Yeah.
So the thing is to me, I look at it as a view as creating relationships, and down the line, I may be able to help them, or they may be able to help me. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's awesome that you have all these different things that are going to create that income for you. I'm going to switch gears a little bit because I, want to give some nuggets to people that are listening to this. So you're into social media, and I'm a business owner. I'm a baby boomer. Why in the world would I want to be on social media? I mean, who wants to be on social media? What would you say to that person?
Well, you have to think about you're only as good as the network that you do or do not have. So, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this all the time. He says your network is in direct correlation to your net worth. So I would take a look at your company's income right now, and are you happy with it? And if you're not, you got to change something. People find reasons or excuses, so to speak, of why they can't do something. You have to find reasons why you can. If the pain is great enough, you'll learn something new. And the fact of the matter is, the online world is not going away anytime soon. And for someone to say, well, I can't learn that, it's too challenging for me, I don't have the time to do that. Listen, every single one of us makes time every single day for what is most important to us. So for that business owner that is looking to grow and scale their business, you have to be on social media. You have to be in the online space. Now, I know people have their own positive and negative feelings about social media. I do. There's things that I love about it, and there's things that I absolutely hate about it. I hate the addictive properties that it presents people. I hate that the comparison game that it creates. I hate the imposter syndrome that it makes people feel. I hate that people are going after and chasing likes and loves and comments and the views and all of those things because they equate that to their self-importance. Those are the things I hate about it. But what I love about social media is that it gives you that visibility and that reach to, as you mentioned, connect with people anywhere in the world. Would you be able to connect with someone in Japan if you weren't online? The answer is no. Would you be able to serve clients anywhere in Europe or Canada or South America if you weren't online? The answer is no. If you create some sort of value-added product or course that is not being housed in an online platform or a digital platform, are people going to be able to take advantage of it, complete it, and get results from it? The answer is no. So you always have to weigh the pros and the cons. Now, the cons of social media are never going to change. Those are more societal things. But from a business standpoint, if you're looking to impact more people, if you're looking to grow, scale, and expand, as I mentioned prior, you're going to have to be in a place and in a space that allows that to happen. And that's online and on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny too. I phrase that way because there are so many, and I'll say the ages, the baby boomer ages, maybe some of the Gen X's a little bit, but, they're very successful business people. And those are the people, even though they don't want to do it themselves, they're the people that say, I know I need to be on social media, so I'm going to hire someone because I know I that's the whole thing. It's just like, you can hire someone if you don't want to do it yourself. I mean, that's, really, that's how I started. I mean, I got into doing social media because I had a coaching business, and I morphed into pretty much the same way you did is, you kind of morphed into social media, because you were trying to leverage it for, working personal training and all that in your gyms. But for me, it was like, I was trying to leverage my coaching business, and I realized that I was getting leads. I was getting all the work I needed. And I loved doing social media better. I still was helping people. And, so I came out of a place of course, service and, for the small business owner, for me, because my husband's a plumbing contractor. So it just made sense for me to want to help different brick and mortar companies like that. So a lot of people don't know where. I feel that I just want to maybe give one little nugget, so we're on social media, and it's not just about putting a post. It's not just about, organic reach. It's not just about, as you said, you said, getting likes and followers. I call it trick or treating for followers. That's what I feel
right.
like. I learned that very quickly. One time I decided I was going to do a trade show, and the BizGone Social Trade Show was happening. And I realized that all people wanted was pens and this kind of stuff, and actually didn't give that. I actually gave flash drives, but they had to give me their name and information for that flash drive. And so there was no trick-or-treaters at my table. But I learned that I wasn't actually going to get a client at that trade show. So basically I spent 8 hours at this trade show talking and getting to know people and listening to people. And I feel like that really helped me. So moving forward into this whole, networking and everything, what would you say is probably the key thing you should be doing if you are on, for instance, LinkedIn? Let's just pick LinkedIn as one platform because we can't talk about all platforms today.
Yeah. Well, I would say, if I was to summarize the big three, which is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I can give a small short tip for each one. If you're on Facebook, share your life. That's what Facebook wants you to do. They don't want any business. If you see what's trending, it's typically a birth, a marriage, an anniversary, unfortunately, a passing away of someone, life events. Instagram, I have an extreme love-hate relationship with. I'm on there. I've organically built a following up to 34,000. I don't know how I did it. I've just been consistent over the years. But don't believe everything that you see on Instagram. It's a reality TV show. And Instagram is pure entertainment. So the one thing that I always suggest people to do is reels. I do a reel a day, just one a day. And I actually get paid now as a content contributor on Instagram and Facebook to produce reels, which I never intended to happen. I was just creating content. So if you share more of your life on Facebook, you do entertaining type things on Instagram, on LinkedIn, That's the value of building a network and networking with other people. The value of the offering that you have in the business that you're running is predicated on the quality of the relationships that you have. So everything that I focus on for myself personally with our business and company, and also what I teach our clients and other businesses that we work with, are developing those meaningful connections and relationships with people that they're connected to on LinkedIn, because they become clients, they become referral partners, they become lead sources. So if I was to suggest people to do one thing on each of those platforms that I just mentioned, share your life on Facebook, entertain people on Instagram, and build quality and meaningful relationships with your connections on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. And I would agree totally with that. I have a client that I'm actually doing reels for right now. And she's a life coach or a high performance coach. And literally, I don't understand it actually, because it's really funny. It's like, I just know that Thursday's the day for her. If I post a reel on Thursday, it's going to get a lot of organic reach. It's going to get a lot of comments on it. I don't even, I'm trying to figure out a strategy here, because
you can't with the algorithms. And that's the one thing I'll tell people: don't try to hack your way to getting engagement on social media. We're not in control of it. The metaverse is in control of everything, and you just got to show up. Just show up with no preconceived expectation of what can happen. Just show up, be yourself, be genuine, and give value.
Absolutely. And I think, that's the best advice. I want to actually, so a lot of the people who are listening to this podcast today are actually business owners. They're either struggling or they're doing really well. They're trying to figure out what their next steps are. Or I got some like corporate people that are actually listening, thinking that starting up their own business. And so I want, because you've done it, you've mastered it, you've done it twice. So I would love you to maybe give one piece of advice that you can just to encourage, the business owner to move forward in their business. One piece of advice that you think would be really good for them.
Well, what I would say is, really think about what you want 3 to 5 years from now. And this is something that Nancy and I ask all of our clients. What do you want your life to be like 3 to 5 years from now? Not what do you want to be doing in 3 to 5 years? How do you want to be spending your life 3 to 5 years from now? Do you still want to be working as much as you're working? Do you want to still be making what you feel you should be making, but you're not in 3 to 5 years? So you think about that end goal in mind, the end goal of where you want to be. Nancy and I know exactly how we want to live our life 3 to 5 years from now. And that's the success path that we're on right now. We're building up to that. So when you think about where you want to be 3 to 5 years from now, and just as an example, say in 3 years from now, you want to have $100,000 a month of residual based income. Okay. And that's one of our goals. And we may hit it sooner, the way things are trajectory, going right now, but it may take longer than that. But that's our 3-year goal. That's our 36-month goal. What you do is you backtrack from that. Okay, so my goal is $100,000 a month of residual based income. With what I have in place, how am I going to achieve that? And if what you have in place isn't going to accumulate over time to that, what else can you create product-wise, membership-wise, business-wise, that when you add up all those numbers, it equates to that number that you want to achieve? Clear vision of what you want to achieve can give you a clear path to take the steps of what you need to do. The main reason why business owners stall out or continue to not make the money that they want to make is because they do not have clarity on what they even want. And this is a big question that we ask people is, what do you want? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want to be doing in 3 years from now? Do you know what the most common answer is? I don't know. So I can't help anyone that doesn't know. And that's the thing. People don't pay me to figure it out for them. And this quote that my wife and I read earlier this week was great. And it said that everybody has a ladder of success that they're climbing. but each person is responsible for climbing their own ladder. So I'm not responsible for helping my clients. I'm not going to climb up their ladder with them. I'm next to them climbing my ladder of success. So if you don't have clarity on what you even want to achieve, that's where I would start. Sit down and really map out what you want your day to look like. How do you want to spend your day? What time do you want to wake up in the morning? What do you want to do throughout the day? How often do you want to go on vacations? What time do you want to stop working? What days do you want to take off? If you don't know any of that, you can't build the framework around how you're going to achieve it. So again, a lack of clarity leads to a lack of vision, which leads to a lack of action. But when you have a clear vision and you have clear action, you'll have a clear path to go down to achieve every one of those things.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. You're talking my language now, Scott. I love it. I love it. And, you know, my husband and I over the years have always created the life that we wanted. And we don't, the environment or, you know, the economy or whatever never dictates to us what we're going to do. I mean, case in point, I'm right here in South Carolina. I live in Connecticut, but I'm in South Carolina right now at my daughter's house, you know, doing what I want to do.
Yep.
And so I have to ask this because, you know, everybody paints the life of an entrepreneur like so amazing. And it is. It really is. But we have challenges. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this, you know, so I would love you to share a challenge, one challenge that you had in business and how you overcome it. And like how you like, you know, it's like, this is going to happen. Maybe it will be a little different for someone else, but this is how I overcame it. This is how I moved forward. Well,
I mean, the challenge that most entrepreneurs face is creating something that people actually want. And the big thing, and let me be clear, most entrepreneurs create things based on what they think people need. So if you're going to create a product, you're going to create a membership, you're going to create a program or a mastermind based on what you want people to need instead of giving people what they want, they're never going to buy it. So the reason why we continue to launch the things that we launch and create the things that we create is because we ask questions. We are constantly on top of our network, asking them, what do you wish you could learn and improve? What do you want? What's the kink in your hose? You know, where's the gap in your business? So when people, you know, say, oh, I wish you would create this, or I wish I knew how to do this. Now you're uncovering the wants of the people that already know, like, and trust you. Because again, people don't buy things from people that they don't know, like, or trust. They only buy things from people that they do know, like, and trust. So it takes a while to nurture some of those people. They may buy something right away. It might be 3 years from now. So what Nancy and I have been really good at doing is stepping back and not focusing on the needs of what we feel people need in their business. We focus on the wants of those that have stepped up and said, hey, I wish you guys would teach this, or I wish you guys could create a course on this, or I wish I can improve this in my business. Because I go back to something my dad told me as a very young boy. He said, Scott, when someone says one thing, there's 9 others that feel the same exact way. They're just not voicing it. So I would say the best advice I can give someone that's looking to really make a footprint in the online space, create things that you know people want instead of what you think people need.
Absolutely. Well, this has been, we could talk about this forever. I know that, but I want to, you know, be respectful of our time here. And also I want you to give a little, you know, I want to give a shout out to you. And just if you can, if you resonated with somebody here online, please tell everybody out there how they could get a hold of you or how they can reach you.
Yeah, my website, scottaaron.net, is probably the easiest way to do that. But I'm on all social media. You can Google me. And I'll pop up if you just Google Scott Aaron LinkedIn. You'll see my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, podcast, books, all that stuff, and would love to help and serve anyone any way I can.
Yes. And I will also put all the links and stuff in the different social media posts I do for this podcast. So again, thank you, Scott. Thank you for being on my podcast. And to everyone out there, I'll see you all next week. Have a really good week.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram at BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.